Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel today. We've got an analysis today for OhMyHello, who is at this time a Champ 2 in 2v2, but has been higher, up over 1600, I believe he was telling me. So we're going to take a look and see exactly like what's going on to bring him back down here. But you know, this is kind of a dual purpose video because I know he's been higher. I'm going to point out good stuff for those of you who are watching this and aren't him, good things that he does, and then for him specifically, and I guess for all of you really, I'm going to point out some of the things that I think could be improved on. And yeah, so let's just get into it. So right off the bat, that first touch right there is very smart. Pinching it off so that the opponent can't get a block. Looking around for opponents as well with the stick, like he does right there, to see if he has time is good. But then once he looked and saw he had time, he took no advantage of it. It seems like maybe this was a misread or something. But with how slow that was bouncing, you could have probably gone for a half volley off this bounce right here. You had time to get up to that and half volley this off the corner. But, you know, that touch is obviously awkward as well. It would have been fine if it had been executed properly, but I would have recommended going faster for the half volley and get it out immediately, because when you did look back, you saw you had time, but you also would have seen that they were crashing. So, yeah. And then your teammate's positioning was pretty bad there. I don't put that 100% on you, but yeah. I'm gonna say I want to see where your teammate went first of all in this position. Yeah, so I would say you definitely gave him too much time here. And that you should be rushing the challenge instead. Your teammate, you have to trust that your teammate's gonna get back and get in his face for this, so he's not getting up. And your teammate double committed with you once that did happen. So if you had gone faster, that double commit would probably have never happened. Did good to get in front of that one. And you salvaged that with low boost, although I don't think I would have recommended taking it up the wall, because you did have an option. You don't have to go up with this. I understand you do because of Ligandis. What a name. He's there. But if you just roll it up the wall until he leaves, he thinks you're going to do this, and then you can come back down and they've given you space. Decent idea to control, but then cutting this into an air dribble in this position with no momentum and 67 boost, basically in your own net with him giving you space. I would say this is better for a ground dribble, especially in twos. Based on especially where his teammate is, he's never going to rush you in this position. And you have all the time in the world. But going for this, it actually ends up being more of a gift. Then you could have put like more pressure on him if you had kept that on the ground. And then again here, yes, it did go up and come off the wall, but I would have either positioned differently to bang it middle for a teammate, or if even from this position, just dodge into this and hit it hard, because the control it wasn't ever going to be there based on the start of it, and you don't want a risky situation. Passing it off the wall to yourself is smart here. Definitely unexpected. It's a little bit risky, but Ligandis was slow. Against a higher player, that wouldn't work. They would have touched it most likely. But then your boost is too low to go for this aerial yourself. I would personally grab that boost and try to bump kink while that ball is bouncing. And, you know, maybe your teammate's ready. And here, instead of trying to control it, I would just go for a bang here. The one touch off the wall is fine. Really, if you had rushed it, because you were kind of a little bit slow, if you had rushed it, you could have just hit it back into the corner. We tend not to want to bring it out across the middle like this, especially in a loosely controlled air maneuver. I would definitely be looking to make that soft touch, jump off, and dodge into it to bang it as far as you can. It's like, yeah, you can get a fleep reset and great, but you missed, like, at the end of the day. So, you know, going for something this risky on defense is always going to be a bad idea, in my opinion, and I'm almost never going to recommend it. There, I can see that's just a little bit of a reading error. You wanted a touch and it didn't come out for you. There, I don't think either of you read that this was bouncing out, but if you are actively trying to read, you should catch that this is going to bounce like this. That was a good time to take it a little bit slower and control your hit instead of rushing. Good to avoid that demo. Good to see it coming. And then obviously the quick challenge you always know is going to be coming after something like that. So good to anticipate and beat. And then another a good option here is a fake, because Kink is diving across. So that's a very smart idea as well. He thinks you're going to bang that and you just slowly walk it in. So well done there. The kickoff could be a little bit tidier. You adjust in, which is good. It might even be a slight bit too much of an adjustment in. And then you you dip your nose and actually hit your nose on the ground, which I think that might have been you, like, bad me, shake controller. But that just happens if you don't release forward on your stick quite quickly enough, like before you do the dodge, or I should say, if you don't jump and then dodge fast enough, that will happen to where it noses your car down a little bit more, so when you dodge you catch the ground, and it gives you that issue where you're a little bit slower, and because of the early adjustment you're a little bit off angle to the ball. Then once you're in this position and you know he's rushing, you sit and wait with 100 boost. I would advise getting more underneath it, because it does bounce. He gave you the bounce. So if you got underneath it on one side or the other, this ball cuts either outside or inside, instead of trying to lift it over him, which is what he's expecting you to try to do in that scenario. You do good not to give time there, so good job. But let me take another look at this. I wouldn't put too much of that on you. You know, you should have reasonably seen that coming and read it and beat, but you know, it might have been a bit of an aggressive run for boost. It was good positioning, anticipating the shot here. And then a good it's good to stop and try to control with Kink giving you that space. And I dislike that your first thing was like a really high pop or whatever. You want to work on that, because that eliminates options for you. But you also do good to not actually try to salvage that into like an air dribble or a flip reset or something, and just bring it back down. A little bit less clean than we would want, but the idea was there. That's a good catch. A good touch. And a bad shot. Yeah, there's not really too much more you could do about that. Kind of gifted your teammate a free net and he missed it, so You can only do what you can do. That kickoff was fine. And then there's a free net. You do well to kind of set yourself before you go for it. You don't go rushing in like, you know. Typically, I would say going in for a 50 like this is not going to be a good idea. You get too close, and you don't jump. He's definitely going to jump for that. So he's always going to roll it up over you. You do good to get the bump to save it a little bit, though. And a good air dribble, but I would say, like, I've noticed it a couple times. Your first, like, thought is, like, really slow all the time. If you know what I mean. Like, I would say, like, here, the reaction, that bump, like, right there, you should know on a snap, I need to go for this. But it's, like, going. Okay, now I touched it. You see what I'm saying? So we want to rush a little more in instances where it's nobody's ball and you can get to it first. But, you know, playing it slow was smart, but getting to it slow is something you want to work on. And there the air dribble was fine because he wasn't like in a shadow position. He was just sitting downfield stationary, so that was fine. And then happened here. Specifically, that was wrong. Okay, yeah. A mugger didn't challenge early enough. Not too much you can do about that. That was a lot better kickoff. Yeah, that's one. Opponent is up like way before you, so I wouldn't be jumping for this in any capacity, because you're never gonna get it unless you flat out misses. But you're at a level in Champ 2 where you shouldn't be expecting that most of the time, at least. Okay, it looks like you are again like punishing yourself by shaking the stick, so. Then that boost grab, in my opinion, is greedy because you can see where this is going. Like in this position right here, you can see that Kink is going to carry this out, and that most likely A-Mugger is going to get beaten because of two things. A, you've played this first 4 minutes with him and you've seen his ability to challenge. B, the first person in twos is always going to naturally just jump at the ball and make some kind of challenge and hope that the person behind them deals with it, but you're not behind them. So I wouldn't be sticking around for boost. I'd be pathing for small boost here to get back. That keeps you to not get bumped and puts you in a position where you might have been able to defend that. Okay. No major complaint with the kickoff. I would like to see you like right about here, just flick it. Because right a couple frames back, you're in a very strong position to where you can, right here, you can get this flick off before Kink comes in. And it might not be on net, but you're beating Kink at the very least. I like to break the game up into small compartments of like what I need to do next. First goal is to beat Kink, second goal is to beat Lick on D's, and then the next goal is to score. So if you break it up while you're playing into small objectives that you want to complete, that's what I do. That's what helps me play better. That might be something you want, it might help you to think of the game that way. So I would just go for a beat here over a fake. So obviously if you fake him, it's going to be better and you can flick it over the other guy. But I would tend to just respect their abilities. Little close on the open net, but just scored it, so it's fine. Good to control, but the control wasn't quite there. A little bit of a misread on how that ball is going to bounce. And then a poor recovery once you do misread, because you got to know he's going to turn for that because you messed up. So like sitting in that position on the wall you were in just a couple frames back, you could jump off and dodge and scoop it over him really easily because he's always going to get baited in by that mistake. And then here, once it does happen, there's a low sense of urgency in your return. Okay, so this is the moment I'm talking about where you could jump off and just dodge this over him. But then once that happens, there's a little bit of boost and you're rotating directly at the near post. Boost in a couple flips more toward the middle of the net and you have an angle on this ball. Or if you are going to commit to go directly. Like you either have to immediately on your back rotation go very fast and go that wider line that I talked about, or go the line you started on and stay to it, because you could have also blocked it if you had stayed on the line you were on, but you kind of switched in the middle from my first idea to my second idea and just left a shooting lane. I wouldn't say that goal is entirely your teammate's fault. I'll put it that way. Good to respect there. It's a risky situation. I wouldn't recommend cutting here because you don't have a clear beat, or if you do cut, you got to bang it into the wall. You can't try I'm going to change what I said. You could have beaten him directly to this, but you slowed down for that turn. So if you can turn faster and keep boosting and touch it into the wall before he gets there, then it's good. But because you go for more of like a 50 situation, like you're trying to block something, it ends up in that lost 50-50. All right, and then it's over. So yeah, biggest things I always recommend to everyone: pace of play and boost collection off of small pads, not just big pads. That one I did see from you a couple times. Unnecessary runs for big boost. And then on top of that, like you're good at understanding when you have space, but your snap reaction on getting to the ball and like claiming it almost was a little slow a couple times. And then in like defensive situations, you don't want to try to be flashy. You just want to get the ball away. It's a little bit okay. It's like okay to be flashy on offense because you have all that space if you mess up. But flashiness in defense, unless you're hitting it 110% of the time you do it, you don't want to do it, in my personal opinion. If you think of the field as like broken up into thirds, I'm going to get like real soccer-y on you. In your defensive third, you want to limit that risk to like 20% at best. In the middle, 50-60% in that middle third. And then in your offensive third, 80%. You're trying to go all out and beat them, right? But you have to be the most conservative and consistent in your zone to make sure that those errors don't lead directly to goals and bad situations. So yeah, those are my biggest recommendations for you. For anyone else who watched it, I hope you caught all of those good notes and you can add those things into your own play personally. And yeah, if any of you want to get a replay analyzed just like this, link to my Discord is down below. You'll find instructions there. Thank you all for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.